They decided to hide behind the walls of the stadium from a million zombies. Hello all, this is Jack Epson and this is the third and final installment of a recap of the zombie series Black Summer. The retelling of the first two parts can be found at the links in the description. A couple of army guys on a roof hang out and play chess. Camping gear and food rations are splayed out on the ground, so it seems like they've been there for a while. They hear a noise and see the new super group come into view, consulting and then splitting up into two groups on Black Summer. Rose's group heads to the door of the building, while Sun's group takes off around the corner. Inside the building, Rose, Minnie, and Carmen are seen on security screens. When the guard asks them what they want, Minnie gestures to Rose and asks, "Like what you see?" The guard lets them in, check them for weapons, being especially handsy with Rose, then takes them down the elevator and into some kind of underground sex and drugs den. Rose is taken into a room filled with various drugged-out people and told to wait. She is obviously extremely nervous. Lance happens to be there as well, looking weak and drugged out in a bunk nearby. Rose doesn't see him, but he sees Rose. The guard comes back and Lance witnesses what can only be Rose's rape. Lance moans and cries softly, almost pleading, "No, please no. Stop, don't," but is unable to move to help her. He is finally able to yell out, "Stop it." While Rose waits in the room, Minnie and Carmen let the rest of the group in and infiltrate the compound. Carmen and William go back into the den, while Minnie, Spears, and Sun sneak in to get the weapons. They take what they can carry and crawl with their booty through some air vents. Meanwhile, William and Carmen weave their way through a techno dance party to the breaker room. William turns off the main power, while Carmen takes off to do other things. With the lights off in a place like this, chaos ensues. William can hear shouts and struggles, then gunfire. He peeks out the door and sees a blood-splattered woman rushing down the hallway. William escapes through another doorway, but can hear the sound of zombies growling and people screaming not far behind. Rose is meant to distract the guard, but very quickly reaches her limit with his unwanted advances. She begins to struggle with him, and before he can get very far, he is distracted by Lance's shout. Rose sees Lance and laughs in surprise. The guard moves toward him threateningly, but that's when the lights go out. As chaos ensues, the guard leaves to investigate. Rose helps Lance up and moves them quickly toward the exit as screams grow louder and the panicked mob advances from all directions. It's slow going with Lance all drugged up, but they make it outside and their mystery friend blocks the door and lights it up with a Molotov cocktail to discourage followers. Spears does not follow Minnie and Sun through the air vents. He goes back out the way they came and nearly gets caught in the mad rush of people after the lights go out. He makes it outside, blocking the door behind him, and makes it to the outer air vent, where there is a bag of weapons waiting. From inside the vents, she can hear struggling and screaming, and while he has the weapons, he stands conflicted about what to do. Sun and Minnie crawl through the air vents, but when the lights go out they can hear the panic begin from below. They rush as best they can, but eventually gunfire tears up through the air vents. Sun gets missed, but the bullets kill Minnie and leave her in the air vents with a zombie. She grabs her bag of guns and crawls as fast as she can toward the exit. She is able to throw her bag outside, but gets grabbed before she can escape herself. She struggles wildly, holding Minnie off until Spears looks through and shoots him down. He helps Sun out of the vent and they run to safety, but with only one bag of guns. Out on the dance floor, Carmen lures a man close to dance, readying a hidden knife. When the lights go out, she stabs him in the neck, causing the mass panic that follows. She calmly walks away with a look of satisfaction. Was that just part of her personal mission? Perhaps revenge of some kind? After the heist, Spears and Sun outrun the chaos and zombies to the safety of a nearby warehouse. They still have one bag of guns and open them to check them out. Whatever Sun's history is, she obviously knows about guns as she professionally checks the barrel and sights on one of the weapons. Weakest link my ass. The rest of the Black Summer supergroup meets them there. Spears is amazed to see Lance, while Sun is concerned about William, who has activated an old injury and comes limping in. Carmen immediately notices that Minnie is missing, and no one knows what to say. Their silence says it all. The group takes cover as a few zombies come running past. After some gunfire, a voice calls out that the way is clear and that they can come out. It's the soldiers from the roof who are also the soldiers who had captured Spears from the beginning. They recognize each other, of course, but keep those details to themselves. The soldiers offer to take the group through the warehouses toward downtown and the stadium. Rose thanks them and agrees for the group. They find a place to camp down for a few hours and get some rest while the bomber pilots do their work outside. It won't be safe to go out until they finished. Spears and the soldiers interact tensely, accusing each other in coded passive-aggressive comments. The soldiers give some background about the spread of the infection. Denver was the first to go black, followed by most other densely populated urban areas. The evacuation will take people to remote areas like Alaska or islands like Cuba. Sun has an emotional monologue that obviously no one can understand, but they all understand the feeling behind it. They all settle down for the night with the soldiers on watch. Rose awakes sometime later and notices Spears and the soldiers are missing. She goes in search of them and finds Spears being led at gunpoint down a dark passage. The soldiers claim that Spears is a criminal and that they're just carrying out justice. Spears tries to tell Rose that the soldiers are lying, that he's not who they say he is, and that they're not who they say they are either. They just want loot. In the end, it doesn't matter who he is or what he did in the past because he's been there for Rose when it mattered. Rose shoots the soldiers in the head and rescues Spears. Rose and Spears come back to the group and they all gear up to go outside. Once outside, Mr. E-Man whistles and a dog comes running. It's the same dog that shunned Lance. Mr. E-Man leashes up his dog and takes his leave. He seems to have everything he needs. The group watches him go and then they set off toward the stadium. The Black Summer supergroup finds that they aren't the only ones heading toward the stadium. A number of small groups and individuals form an advancing line toward the stadium, everyone contributing to the defense of the others. As zombies are sighted, the front line breaks into fire to take it down. At first, it's fairly organized and you think that they're doing pretty well for untrained civilians. But as more zombies come through from other directions, inevitably someone gets shot or bit and causes a panic. In this case, Carmen gets hit with a wild bullet and doesn't even have time to collapse before turning into a zombie. The once organized line dissolves into chaos as people run screaming and fire blindly. The supergroup sticks together as much as possible, but find themselves separated. Sun, Spears, and Lance advance and cover each other, but Lance finds himself pursued, like usual, while Spears and Sun are knocked senseless by the shock of an explosion. Rattled, they get up to move forward. Rose and William move forward together. Rose clears the way for William, who is struggling to keep up with his aggravated injury. William gets hit with the shock of the same explosion, but Rose comes to help him, and they go together into the cloud of settling dust and smoke. Poor guy just can't catch a break. He is so close to making it to the stadium, but is dazed by the shock of the explosion and stumbles too slowly toward the building. His way is blocked by an oncoming horde of zombies, and he finds himself sprinting in the opposite direction, pursued by the horde. That's the last we see of Lance. Sun and Spears have made it to the skywalk leading into the stadium and hold off the zombies waiting for Rose and William to catch up. They advance together as quickly as possible, fighting off zombies and weaving through the blockades. They literally have to drag William now, whose injured leg can no longer support his weight. He argues with Sun, telling her to kill him and leave him behind. With no options left and the zombies coming toward them fast, Rose shoots William in the head. He really was one of the good guys. Sun is devastated, but there's no time to mourn with the zombies chasing them. No longer slowed down by William, the three of them run to the gate and get through to the stadium, blocking off the zombies behind them. The stadium, which should be filled with people if the evacuation transports had made it through, is suspiciously and frighteningly empty. When they reach the field, an armed man appears from the opposite entry point. They both point their guns at each other in a wary standoff. He lowers his gun first and a young girl appears by his side, holding a pistol. It's Rose's daughter. She comes down through the stands and onto the field, breaking out into a run toward Rose.